Good morning. Tuesday, April 25th. And here's a question for all of you out there. Is the fate of our country in the hands of one of the great liars of all time? We have a debt ceiling problem in this country. And Kevin McCarthy, who is the Speaker of the House by the slimmest margins imaginable, cannot afford to lose any vote when it comes time to raise the debt ceiling. But he's confronted with having a liar on his staff. And I'm sure that there are many in Congress who are fabricators, but none of them have really turned out to be a liar like George Santos. And Santos is a critical vote. McCarthy can't afford to lose Santos on any issue, even though they have kind of isolated Santos from anything. He's still in Congress and he's still able to vote on things, and he's thinking about running for reelection besides all of that. And Santos has come out and openly said that he is solidly against the GOP's debt ceiling plan. But is he really in the opposition? Or is he worried about his own political situation? Now, there can be no doubt that he's a terrible situation, a terrible political situation. The question in my mind is, if the man is crazy enough to attempt to run again, does he actually think that he could win after all of his fabrications during the last election cycle? I don't know. But even if he plays ball with McCarthy, the law will go to the Senate where the Democrats have control. So the debt ceiling is in a very, very tenuous situation right now. So while McCarthy and many of the other Republicans in the House are laughing, so to speak, because they have heard about Santos' campaign plans and his plan to possibly run again, so they can all laugh all they want. But since since Congress is so narrowly divided, right, and every vote counts, McCarthy can't afford to avoid Santos. And it may be that Santos will get the last laugh. That's the situation that McCarthy has put himself in. Why didn't he just give up the fight to become Speaker? And why didn't he do more as the Speaker to punish Santos? But he didn't. He didn't. So now here is Santos sitting in a critical situation for not only the Republicans, but for the country at large. How can we have a liar? A known liar, and not a little fibs. These are major lies this guy told. And he's sitting there with a vote that could turn the tables on this country in the face of the world. If we default in the debt ceiling, we will be in big, big trouble. So there's a lot of negotiations that McCarthy has to negotiate. And he's got this guy sitting on his shoulders. Plus, he's got some other members in his chamber who are not so keen on what McCarthy is attempting to do with the debt ceiling. So it's a tenuous situation, only exacerbated by the fact that we have a major fibber in the middle of this critical situation. Now, while this situation is a major conundrum for the Republicans, the Democrats could easily be in the same spot, because there is no vetting process that's in existence, as far as I know, that can keep somebody from running for office. Seems to me that each political party, and I've said this before, that each political party must vet their own candidates. A person should not be allowed to run for any political office unless the political party under which he is running has taken the time and effort to validate the credentials that this candidate has put forth. And nobody did anything except to accept the word of one of the great liars of all time. So this should be a lesson, and this should be something that both parties seriously consider going forward. Nobody runs for any office unless they are vetted properly vetted. And there has to be a methodology for vetting independent candidates also. We cannot continue to have clowns running for office in this country. So here we sit, with the United States expected to run out of its borrowing authority in June or July. And McCarthy is desperate to pass a House GOP budget plan on the debt limit soon. And if he can do that, the Democrats will be in a negotiating bind. And that would give the Republicans the upper hand on exacting budget cuts. But Santos recognizes that he has a certain amount of leverage in this situation. And he seems to want to sell his vote to the GOP if they are willing to support his reelection. He doesn't want to give away his vote for free. So this is the great patriot that we are stuck with, a liar and probably a thief of some kind, because nobody can figure out how he gets his money. So Santos hasn't exactly stated his ransom act for his vote, but he also hasn't said anything about supporting the Republican policies. What we do know, however, is that Santos is willing to continue to talk to McCarthy directly. But we don't know if McCarthy has the guts to kick this guy's ass out and take his chances with the remaining people left in his party that could vote against him. So imagine that the fate of this country lies in the hands of a liar, and lies in the hands of one of the weakest speakers that we have ever had in our Congress. This is a mess. It is a mess. It's a mess because the Republicans didn't do their job properly and allowed this guy to run. And the Democrats are no better. They're not any better. There's plenty of clowns in the Democratic Party too. But right now the whole thing hinges on the Republicans because they are the majority in the Senate. Barely. And if they don't act soon and act properly, then we will be in deep, as the little kids like to say, doo-doo. Have a great day. I'll see you in the morning. Bye.